Hello, my name is Gayle McLaughlin. I'm the former mayor of Richmond, California, and a former candidate for lieutenant governor in the state of California. I'm also a co-founder of the Richmond Progressive Alliance, an inclusive, diverse organization that runs corporate-free candidates for local office and builds local political power. Currently, I'm working with progressives from all over the state to build the California Progressive Alliance. The California Progressive Alliance, or the CPA, is a statewide independent network of progressive individuals and organizations united by our shared belief that a better California is possible. For far too long, corporate interests have overshadowed the voice of the people. We believe that the first step in changing this is by getting money out of politics and supporting candidates who take no corporate money. The CPA aims to bring people together from across the state, regardless of party affiliation or no party affiliation. We welcome Greens, Progressive Democrats, Independents, Socialists, virtually anyone who agrees with our mission. Currently, California has a Democratic supermajority. At the same time, Independents are the second largest voting bloc in the state. We believe that a successful progressive agenda requires a united front to take on the problems and challenges we face. We are neither Dem exit nor Dem enter. We are striving to create a united progressive front to create real solutions and to protect and advance our children's future, our infrastructure, and our social safety nets. Our mission has 4 key tenets. 1, to elevate progressive ideas throughout the state. 2, to promote the creation of local political alliances and people-powered coalitions to enact progressive change in local government. 3, to support corporate-free progressive candidates and progressive issue-based electoral campaigns. And 4, to wield our collective power to lobby the state legislature on current and future legislation, as well as research and write new model legislation. So how do we define progressive? We define progressive as anything or anyone that has a predilection for the poor, the working class, the diminishing middle class, and for historically marginalized communities. Progressivism works to actively elevate rather than further harm these communities. This applies to issues, individuals, organizations, legislation, and the overall narrative. Furthermore, we define corporate-free candidates as those taking no corporate or business money. While we support business and entrepreneurship, especially small independent businesses and their right to make a decent profit, we believe that money from business accounts should not be part of our electoral and political process. We strongly denounce corporate PACs and are unwavering in our belief that corporations are not people. You can go to our website, californiaprogressivealliance.org, to sign up for the convention and to become a member. While membership to the CPA is limited to individuals, we welcome and encourage organizations from all over the state to be part of the CPA as allies. Visit our website to learn more. Join us. Together we can build a better California for all.
Welcome, everyone, to the 3rd Annual California Progressive Alliance Annual Convention. My name is Nick Cortez. I am the chair of the California Progressive Alliance. First of all, just want to take a moment to thank all of you for joining us today, and want to thank our members for all of their support in making these events possible. This event could not happen without the volunteers and all of the folks behind the scenes putting countless hours. So thank all of you for that. Super excited for today and all that we have to offer. So thank you all. This experience has been quite interesting. We were hoping to do this live, but of course we're not able to. So we have adapted and we are presenting this to you as best we can virtually. We wish we could be here all together, but hope you all enjoy what we have to offer. I think we've managed to pull together a pretty incredible list, and I'm excited to share this experience with you all today. I do apologize that we are not offering more interpretation services, but I do assure you that we will provide recordings and do our best in the future to make these as accessible to everyone as we can. So I hope you all are settled in and ready to engage in some good conversation. We have quite a lineup for you this morning. This morning's session is really meant to give pause and to acknowledge the time and space that we are in. Not only to acknowledge the physical land that we occupy, but also acknowledge the unique and challenging time we are in. Our afternoon breakout sessions will help to break down and analyze some of the unique challenges that we face currently, and hopefully it will also offer us some opportunities and solutions to tackle those challenges. So we hope that you leave today here inspired and informed. Make sure that you are ready. Lots of information is about to come your way, but please do not stress. We will be recording all sessions and we will provide those for you. So thank you again for joining us, and thank you for all your support.
Welcome everyone to the 3rd Annual California Progressive Alliance Convention. My name is Desiree Rojas, and I'm the President of Labor Council for Latin American Advancement, AFL-CIO, and Change to Win. Not only is LACLA Sacramento chapter an ally to CPA, but we too will be having our breakout session on No NAFTA 2.0 and on forced migration. We invite you to join us. I also want to say that it brings me great joy to introduce to you Marge Grow-Eppard, also known by her native name, Sister Who Walks with Bears, who now is going to go live with a land acknowledgement blessing.
Machukshus Kuchi Haima. Hello, it's a good day, a brand new day that's never been used before. My spiritual name is Sister Who Walks with Bears. My colonized name is Marge Grow-Eppard. I am president of MMIW&P of California, which stands for Missing Murdered Indigenous Women and People. I'm also the director of the sanctioned chapter AIM, it's American Indian Movement, Foothills, Central California, and that's AIM. We welcome you to Indigenous land. Where I reside is Miwok, Ohlone territory of our ancestors. Tangi Kamu. Thank you to the California Progressive Alliance for inviting us to open this important convention with a land acknowledgement of our people's land for which you reside and walk on. We pray this convention will be heard and seen by many people all across our sacred Turtle Island, to always remember not only the two-leggeds, but our four-leggeds, winged ones, creepy crawlies, ones that swim in our waters, standing up elders, the trees, our rock nation, star nation, sacred Mother Earth, and our two-spirit relatives. We follow the medicine wheel that connects us to each other, the red, yellow, black, and white, the four directions, east, south, west, north. Many of us just did a Stop Line 3 mural in front of the federal building in Oakland, which included the 1,000 grandmothers, East Point Peace Academy, Idle No More, San Francisco Bay, and many others, organized by the internationally known activist David Solnit. Our mural was MMIW MP of California, AIM Foothills Sen, and our AIM Foothills Central Youth Group, which read, "No Man Camps, Stop Line 3." We are getting the attention of President Biden, Vice President Harris to end the pipelines ripping through our sacred Mother Earth and to end the production of fossil fuels. CalSTARS is using the teachers' pensions to fund these pipelines, so we're asking that they divest. I'm also a treaty signer of the Indigenous Women of the Americas Defending Mother Earth, among other organizations, that we really need to get aggressive in stopping all of these fossil fuels and the raping of our Mother Earth, including ripping her veins to put these steel pipes in, which can never be mended again. Once our soil is misused, it's our next 7 generations that are affected. And that is wrong that we leave this to them to clean up. We need to start getting active more and more. So this mural painting we did in Oakland, as you can see, was massive. And we did it all without permits because it's our land. That basket weave that you see all around these murals was done by Ed Willie. And he is a well-known artist, activist, herbalist, and permaculturist. So that clay that was used is from my homeland, my stomping grounds, Ione, California. We use only plant-based paints so that when the fire department comes to hose that all down, it goes away. It does not hurt any plant, animal, or anything, but that clay always stays. It's in my blood, it's in my skin, and I'm very proud to be California Miwok from the Miwok Nation. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Walks with Bears. Appreciate you being here.
Oh,
Appreciate that land acknowledgement and those kind and wise words. Next up, we have some words from well-known Professor Richard Wolff. So I'm going to pass it off to Professor Richard Wolff.
This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work and Economic Update. I'm honored, I'm flattered to be asked to make a brief presentation to the California Progressive Alliance. It's an important, powerful California social movement that is admired all over this country, and it is my privilege to be able to add a little bit to the work that you do. I've been asked to talk about the American economy, where it is, where it's going, and what the response is that progressive people everywhere need to undertake or to expand. So let me get right to the heart of it. This is the worst condition of the American economy that I have seen in my lifetime. We have a crash of the capitalist system, the kind we have every 4 to 7 years. Sometimes they're short and shallow. This one is long and deep. It's only comparable to the Great Depression of the 1930s. But unlike the Great Depression, we now have a depression that coincides in time and place with a catastrophe around our public health, COVID-19. We have had pandemics, but without depressions. We have had depressions, but without pandemics. We are now living through both of them together, as each of them makes the other one worse. This calls for levels of intervention unprecedented in American history. This is not the time to hesitate. We were told that back in 2008 when we had a crash much less severe and no pandemic. We were then told that we needed to pump in unprecedented amounts of money and give unprecedented amounts of stimulus. The same should be said now, but in a multiplied way, because the level of difficulty, which already compounds what happened in 2008, demands it. And let me show you the dark side of what I'm saying. If there aren't major interventions, the kind big enough and broad enough to fundamentally change this economy, it will continue its downhill slide. And that will pave the way for other demagogues like Donald Trump to come along and try to take advantage of that situation. And we now know what that looks like and where that goes. So what needs to be done is massive. And here are the two dimensions that I have time to tell you about. Number one, you have to overcome the 75-year ideological training of the American people in a kind of economic fundamentalism, that everything private is good and efficient and appropriate, and everything the government does is wasteful, inefficient, corrupt, and so on. This is a wonderful ideology if you're a big business executive, or if you're wealthy because you own big businesses. Yeah, that's the ideology for them. But leaving the problems of our society to be solved by private enterprise is a terrible mistake with awful consequences. Private enterprise is how we've organized our medical system. And that ranks us at the bottom of the industrial countries of the world in terms of how many of our people we cover with insurance, how many people we treat adequately and properly. And now we know how failed it was as a way of preparing for the COVID-19. So that I have to tell you, as you know, that the United States has 4% of the world's people and 20% of the world's deaths from corona. Many countries, left-wing, right-wing, and in the middle, with many fewer resources than we have in America, have done much, much better. It is an indictment of leaving your health system in private hands. Likewise, we saw a few weeks ago in Texas, what happens if you give over your energy system to private capitalists whose bottom line isn't being prepared for everything that might happen, making sure the citizens don't freeze, don't lack water, don't lose power. No. Their bottom line is profit. And in their hunt for profits, they didn't want to be part of the national grid for electricity, so they could turn nowhere. And they didn't want to have regulation, and they didn't want the government to supervise and make sure things were done properly. And even when they made up a commission, it's one of those commissions captured by the industry it's supposed to regulate. We know the story. We have capitalist downturns every 4 to 7 years, but our private system isn't worried about that because that's not their job. Their job is to make profits for their business. If the economy collapses, that's not their issue, is it? And if no one makes that their issue, then we get the kind of dysfunction we're now living through. And the last thing for me to say is this. Do I think that the government stepping in is needed today? Absolutely. On a massive scale. If the government can step in now and show that it can dramatically alter the job situation, the income situation, and the gruesome inequality that saps this country's unity and even its sanity. If the government steps in and does those things, it will earn the appreciation and the votes of the mass of people, just like Franklin Roosevelt earned them back in the 1930s. He, after all, taxed corporations and the rich in order to provide the mass of people with Social Security, unemployment compensation, the first minimum wage in our history, and a public jobs program that hired 15 million Americans. And for that daring program, he was reelected 3 times, the most popular president in the history of this country. Come on, folks. We need a comparable intervention, and not one that can be undone the way the New Deal of Roosevelt was undone after he died. And to make sure it isn't undone, we have to make big changes of a further sort. If you want the economy to work for the mass of people, you have to put the mass of people in charge. Giving us the vote on election day was never enough. The people have to become those in charge of the workplaces, the factories, the offices, the stores. We have to democratize the workplace, bring democracy to where it has been excluded throughout the history of this country, from the factory, from the office, from the store. If the workers control the wealth and the productive apparatus, you will not see the kind of anti-worker ideologies, politicians, academic curricula that have worked over the last 50 to 60 years to demonize and destroy government, to sanctify private enterprise. We are now reaping the whirlwind of that horror, and we cannot let it happen again. Movements like yours in every one of the 50 states, because you are a model, are the ways to reach people every day on the ground. And that, in the end, is the best chance we have to turn this system around and not face another Trump experience. Thank you so much again for your invitation, and thank you, all of you, for the work that the California Progressive Alliance illustrates is possible and is, as I said, a model for the rest of the country. Thank you.
Welcome back. Well, thank you so much, Professor Richard Wolff, for sharing those insightful words. We always appreciate your guidance on these economic matters and preaching the truth. It is my pleasure now to introduce one of our co-founders of California Progressive Alliance, former mayor of Richmond and current city council member of Richmond, Gayle McLaughlin. Gayle, welcome.
Thank you, Nick, and thank you everyone for joining us today. What a treat to be having our 3rd annual California Progressive Alliance Convention. We have come so far in the last 3 years. We've made great endorsements of corporate-free candidates, all who are winners in the eyes of our statewide progressive movement, whether races were won or not. The work done by progressive candidates is essential in building our movement and helping to educate and raise awareness of our population as a whole. We have encouraged and seen the emergence of new progressive alliances, and we've seen them thrive and do extraordinary work in their communities, raising high our progressive values and our vision for better tomorrows. We have worked on single issue campaigns, lobbying elected officials to stand strong for the needs of our working class communities and the population all over our state and our nation and world. We have stood for justice, health, sustainability, equity, and we have stood against police brutality and against the domination of our economy and our politics by Wall Street and corporations. We have stood for public banking and for decommissioning refineries, for immigration justice, housing justice, and racial justice.
We have stood for solidarity, and we must continue to deepen that solidarity. As some know, I have been on the steering committee since CPA's inception, and I was proud to serve as CPA's first chairperson in 2019 and to serve as an at-large CPA steering committee member in 2020. As some of you already know, I chose not to run again for CPA steering committee in 2021 because I ran and won my race for Richmond City Council this past November. I am honored to be serving the people of Richmond once again. I felt it important to not run for CPA steering committee so I can focus on the work of serving the Richmond community, although I will continue to be a very active CPA member and work to come together with all of you throughout our state. And I'm always available for advice and feedback and just general conversation. Just a little background. The reason I ran for Richmond City Council again was because our local Richmond movement had some setbacks. Not everyone always lives up to our expectations. We saw some setback in the work that myself and others in Richmond had thrown our hearts and minds and physical energy into for years. We saw some of this work get detoured. So I felt it important that I get back in the local work to play a role in helping us get back on track, especially on some bad decisions made by the former city council. Of course, I am but one player in the Richmond progressive movement, but I feel a strong need to do my part. I also want to say that we should all expect some setbacks along our journey. The journey to a better future is not a straight road. It's a zigzagging road where we must exercise resilience in the face of setbacks while we continue to celebrate the gains we have made. Today, I am part of a progressive majority that won in November to serve the people of Richmond. And I am hopeful that we will offer some good progress for our community and that we will play a role in exchanging information with other progressive cities. So let's work together. I envision a coming together of local progressive alliances statewide in 2021, where we can share successes, challenges, and hopes and desires. As separate entities, we are limited. But as a coalition and alliance of progressives statewide, we are unstoppable. Thank you again for being part of today's great convergence. I will be speaking again today as part of the final panel this afternoon, so I'll see you again soon. But in the meantime, I look forward to the rest of today's great activities. Thank you again for being here, and let's keep this movement going strong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gayle. You are an inspiration. We appreciate you being here. So I just want to make sure everyone is aware how to navigate the platform and make sure you know where to find things. So if you haven't already seen it, there is the schedule, should be up above me here. Also, if you click around into the various breakout rooms, there is further information on our speakers available with the little people icon thing in the top right. So please feel free to explore that. The information is also on our website. So we will be breaking and coming back live. We will be playing more video and content in between then. So there's plenty to see and do. But we will be opening all of the breakout rooms live at 12:30 to 2 o'clock. So please join us for those. Please get engaged in those conversations. And then don't forget to stick around for our final panels in the afternoon. Starting again at 2:30, we will be having a panel discussion on progressives organizing within the Democratic Party. Following that panel, around 3:20 or so, we will be having a second panel on progressives organizing outside of the Democratic Party. And then finally, at the end of the day, I'm very excited for this. This is our first ever Gayle McLaughlin Progressive Champion of the Year award. We will be presenting that award to the awardee at that time. So please stick around. We've got a lot of great stuff coming, and continue the good conversation in the chat. Look forward to engaging with you all. Thank you again for being here.